Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the Port Charles 411. Today we are going to talk a little bit about the General Hospital 60 Years of Stars and Storytelling special that was on ABC on January 4th, 2024. I'm bummed it was only an hour.
That's what I was going to say.
I feel like they could have done a month.
So fast.
Like they could have done every Thursday night for an hour, different topics.
Yep.
But
Or they could have done 6 weeks and did a decade each.
Oh, a
That would have
decade
been really
recap.
good. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because I would have loved to see the old footage.
Well,
Like,
they still
just
have technically until the end of March.
True.
Is their 60th year. So
True.
if you need to do that, I mean, that'd be a nice Sunday evening.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the Magical World of Disney?
Yeah.
The Wonderful World of Disney, right?
Yeah.
What was the Sunday night thing? Yeah, they could do that. So the Hulu headline is just behind the scenes moments, bloopers, and exciting surprises.
I love the bloopers.
Oh my gosh, that was... All right, so did you have this problem? I don't know if it was my TV. The music was so loud in some places that you couldn't really hear the person talking.
I could hear the person talking, but the music was too loud in definitely some points because I had turned it up because like my family was talking and I was like, this is the sign. I am zoned into this. I'll just keep turning up the volume over top of you. And so I had it decently loud. And then there was a part or two where I was like, what?
Because it was over, I think it was like over Finola or something. There was a couple places I'm like, maybe it's just my TV. Maybe I need to look at some of the things. And no, okay, I'm glad it was not just me.
Yeah. No, it was not.
Okay.
Not just you.
So the night was hosted by Donna Mills and Morgan Fairchild. And for those who are semi-newer to the show, Donna Mills was on General Hospital. She was Madeline Reeves, Nina Reeves' mom.
Yes.
Who, what did she say? How did she say she died? She died in jail.
Yeah, I can't remember. Wasn't she poisoned somehow?
I think so. And she said something about I got
ingested something.
Yeah,
something bad or something. I can't remember how she said it, but it was funny just to hear her be like, "Yeah, I'm not kind of playing like, oh, I don't know why I'm not on the show anymore. I was such a nice person."
Right. And Morgan Fairchild's like, "I love running the Home and Heart Network," And then they gave a background of how the show started in 1963 as just a 30-minute show.
Yeah,
black and white.
Yeah.
And then John Stamos.
I know. I loved.
That was awesome.
He gave so much credit.
Yeah. Oh,
it wasn't like not that most actors are like jerky towards their first shows, but it's like they rise above that.
He loves it.
He like 100% was like, I owe them everything. They did this, they did that.
We talked about his audition process.
Yes.
And about how he did the walk.
Yes. And then they showed the clip of him doing the walk up to Tiffany and trying to be cool by opening the bottle of champagne and getting it everywhere.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so, so funny. And it was Demi Moore sitting there with him. Ryan was watching it with me. Demi. I guess I always say it wrong. Sorry. But Ryan was like doing stuff on his computer as he was sitting there. And I was like, look, there's Demi Moore. But I said Demi because that's how I always say it.
I'm going to guess a lot of people do.
But anyway, he was like, what? And I was like, I'm telling you, like, GH is cool. Watch it. So, yeah. John Stamos was just awesome with his everything.
We talked all about Blackie and about how he still worked at his dad's restaurant on Sundays. Like, when he got the job, his dad's like, that's great. But you still have to work at the restaurant on Saturday or Sundays.
Yeah.
And he did. And then one day his dad, I guess, came to the set and saw how everyone was also treating him.
Yes.
And I think that was really when his dad was like, wow, you're really happy, right? And he's like, you don't really have to work at the restaurant anymore.
Yeah. Because he said to his dad, like, look, I'm famous. I don't need to work here. And his dad still was like, no, that's not true.
Yep.
You'll be here on Saturdays.
And even when people were coming into the restaurant just to see him, and he's like, that doesn't matter.
Right.
But I thought that was nice that his dad was kind of checking on his work environment too, because it's like, yeah, you could love what you're doing. And obviously the girls love you.
Right.
But if you don't have the right environment, it's not going to last. So that was great.
And it was cute that they took it from him to Laura Wright. And she was like, yeah, I had a crush on Blackie.
Right?
I definitely had some posters. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're so
like,
cute.
Who didn't?
So cute.
And then they had Kelly Monaco dancing with Val. I can never pronounce his last name because she was on the Dancing with the Stars with him. And they were doing the tango. And Finola poked her head, and I'm like, please, please, please. That would have been awesome.
That's what
if
I thought.
She had gone in and started doing
like, Kelly, didn't you hear they recast this part and her jump in and do the tango?
Right.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Me too.
And instead she was like, they cut that part of the show and Val like dropped her to the floor like that.
Right.
Not nice.
And then, hold on. Val Chermovsky.
There you go.
Is that it?
Chernovsky, yeah.
Chermovsky. Okay. Yes.
You have to say it in the Dancing with the Stars voice, and then you can hear it.
See, that is the only season that I ever watched Dancing with the Stars, and the whole reason I watched it was because of her. And then after that, I was just like, I think I may have watched part of the second season, and I was like, I don't care.
I don't know if it's from what other people have watched in my house, or if it's just some random algorithm that they use, but when GH ends, like at the end of Friday, and it automatically rolls into another show, that's what it rolls into.
It's your algorithm, because I gave up on Grey's Anatomy, and mine goes into Grey's Anatomy. I just need to take it off because I'm like, I don't care anymore.
Okay, so I guess
it's been on for too long. Did you know that Cameron Matheson was on Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah,
he shared his thing the other day. Dang, yeah. He shared it on Instagram. I was like, oh.
I didn't know you didn't know that he was on Dancing with the Stars. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'd have told you to check that out before. But I never got into it. But I think Emily watches it sometimes. Okay. And so that's what it rolls into. So I always am like too lazy to click it off right away. And so it'll at least get through the names before it moves on to the next part. So I can hear that voice in my head.
And then they had James Patrick Stewart jokingly giving an Emmy for best lead actor he said something about, known first for his commentary and then, transition into soap, best lead actor, Stephen A. Smith. And he's giving his little acceptance speech. And then Maurice comes in and he's like, dude, what are you doing?
Right. Why are you pretending that's yours? It's not.
And they pulled out and showed all the Emmys that they've won over the past 60 years.
Right. And he was like, that's not even all of them. That's just the ones from, like,
the
top
the show,
GH,
the show that won.
That's not
the actors.
And that's not, like, the makeup and hair and all that other extra stuff behind the scenes.
Right.
It's just, like, the top. That's crazy.
And then he said something about, Maurice is like, well, I have 3. And then Nancy Lee Grau's like, I have 2.
Brick said... I know that's not his real name, but that's all I can call him.
Stephen A. Smith, that's okay.
And that annoys Ryan too because he loves him and he's like, his name isn't Brick, and I'm like, yes,
it is. He shared his story about being the baby of 5, and he had 4 older sisters, and every single day he came home from school and he didn't want to do his homework, so we watched General Hospital. I loved that.
Right. So he said something about, I guess these are hard to get, and then Lois said, well, I have one.
Nancy said, I have 2.
Yeah, and then somebody else said, I have 1 or 2, and then
I think it was just Maurice. I think it was just the 3 of them.
Was it? I thought there was 4.
I think Stephen A. Smith was the 4th.
Maybe Stephen was talking about all the ones that
I think he said about
General Hospital had earned for the different things. And then Maurice was like, I have 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they're so cute.
That was. And then Emma Sam sent in a video from England and shared about how happy she's been to she didn't even really give herself
she didn't act like she was a main character ever. She was like, I like to just be in this supporting cast, and we're like, what?
Right, like, no, you're Holly.
Exactly. When you're on, you are not just supporting cast, girlfriend.
Right.
But that was sweet.
It's humble too. She knows that she's not
she's not on it every day. Yeah. No, that was nice.
And then they talked about, did she say something about people growing up on screen? And then
I think so, and that's when we flipped over to Amber.
Amber Tamblyn!
Yeah.
Oh, and they showed her and Alan talking, and they showed Monica and Alan asking her to be adopted. Leslie Charleston wasn't in the special.
No. She mustn't have been feeling up to it that day. I didn't see if she was in, like, whatever they took the picture of the cast at the end. I didn't see if she was there or not. I noticed that Jocelyn was not.
Oh, so they must have,
So.
Yeah.
Must have been whenever she wasn't feeling well. But
anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sad that she wasn't there, but I'm sure she had good reason. I mean, she's been on the show forever. Right. It's not like she wouldn't be there.
What else? Amber Tamblyn talked about something else, and I didn't write down the subject that she talked about.
I just love that she really talked about Stuart Damon, because we've talked before about how we feel he was kind of slighted there without getting a proper goodbye from GH. And she was like, he was like my surrogate father, not just on the set. He was so good to me. He was this, he was that, blah, blah, blah. And how GH, she was 11 whenever she started on it. And so I didn't realize she was that young. Like,
I didn't
knew
either.
She was young,
but
I didn't realize she was that young.
Well, because I think that we both really knew her when it was Liz, Lucky, Emily, and Nicholas.
Like I watched when she first was adopted and came to live there and stuff like that, which makes sense that I was even younger. So I was like, oh, okay, she's cute and like closer to my age or whatever. But I guess, whenever I think about it, I think of the Liz Lucky time, like where they were
Jonathan Jackson was like 12
so.
When they came back. You know, like he was that young, but you don't think about that because I automatically go to
teenage years. Yeah. So it was nice. It was nice to see her and just all her good memories. But I liked that she focused on Stuart.
Yes. And then she talked about the Quartermains in general.
Oh, yeah.
Because then they showed Tracy withholding Edward's medication.
Yes. Ryan was there for that too. And he was like, she seriously isn't going to give it to him. And I was like, no, he wouldn't rip up the will. It's not her fault.
Daddy just changed the will.
I liked how they had her dressed too for this, like with her hair down in the side ponytail.
Yes, I thought that was really pretty. Yeah.
Instead of usually she has it like twisted up in a...
We're talking about Jane Elliott now, not...
I'm sorry.
Amber Tamblyn.
Not Amber, sorry. Yeah, Tracy, the way they had her hair done, I really liked that.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, because I think Emma Sams is who talked about people that got their start on General Hospital, and we've seen... Because she mentioned...
Yes. Because that's...
Demi Moore and...
Yes.
Oh, she mentioned a couple people I didn't know.
Yeah.
Why didn't you write this down?
There was a couple people that I didn't like. I saw their picture, I was like, okay, I've seen you act.
So she said about
John Stamos and
Richard Dean Anderson,
and Demi Moore. Now that I'm going to make sure I say it right, and Dr. Noah Drake,
Rick Springfield.
Thank you. And then,
I knew that one.
Yeah. And then who else?
There's someone that's on the tip of my tongue, and I can't think of who it is. We're gonna go to the tape. Roll them. Sorry.
You're such a dork.
I know. It was Bryan Cranston. I didn't know that he was on GH.
Mm-mm.
So, and of course, she started with the iconic Elizabeth Taylor being Helena Cass. So she didn't just talk about the ones that got their start on. It was, no, there's a lot of famous people, because then she ended with James Franco, and he chose to be on General Hospital.
Yes, he did.
Because he wanted to experience that work environment.
Because his mom loved GH.
And then she said, and speaking of, people growing up right before our eyes, like here's another famous person who grew up right before our eyes, and it was Amber Tamblyn. So, yeah, that was really cool. And prior to that, she remembered Robert and Holly. I'm surprised that they, I'm
telling you, they should have done 6 episodes.
I know.
I want more.
And then they had Chandra Wilson.
Yes.
On the red carpet, dressed like she was emceeing not emceeing, but doing the red carpet of the nurses' ball.
And she was like in that character, and they're like, hey, that's not why you're here. She's
right.
Like, oh, yeah, I forgot. She always gets to introduce all the hot men, though.
Yeah. She got Donnell Turner to come down, and he shared about how he also watched it. Oh, because she said, I'm also like actually a huge fan. You know, and she's been 3 different characters on the show.
Right.
And then she's talked to Donnell Turner about his current storyline.
Yep. I loved that, although obviously you could tell it was scripted the way it's supposed to be, that her like genuine, like, is Curtis going to be okay? Like, what's going on? Kind of came through. Like, we're here no matter what, but we want to know.
You know what would have been really cool, though, is having her actually run the red carpet as Chandra, interviewing the cast members as themselves.
Yeah.
And
that would have been, cute. Right.
Having them come down. And because, I mean, that was a very quick segment.
That was.
But then getting to talk with, have Jeannie Francis walk down. I do like that they didn't really have Jeannie until the end.
Yes.
Just because.
Yes. But I
feel like that would have taken away.
Ended it. Right. Like, I'm the staple that's still here.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah. And then after.
When you do it again, you can have Chandra Wilson on the. Just asking them, like, so how did you even get your start on GH or something?
Right. Or favorite memory, favorite storyline, something. Yeah. Favorite blooper even. That was funny whenever they got to that part.
Yep.
But then they also had Dante and she asked him how he avoided being on the nurse's ball.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, I totally can take credit for Chase then, blah, blah, blah. And then Chase walked in and was like, excuse me? I don't think so.
Right.
So it was cute the way they played the characters and not the characters at the same time. So
yeah,
it was them.
I really liked that too. Then they had Maurice and Nancy walking in, and she is romantically challenged Alexis Davis for the past 20 now.
She said?
I think it's about almost 27 because she just had her 25th anniversary.
Okay.
And Maurice is a coffee importer, and she laughed.
Yes, I liked that.
But they talked about the different serious storylines that they covered, and she talked to him about that he's brought in his bipolar.
Yeah.
And how important that's been.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to have that big of a character trait.
Right, because he said something like, you know, we've both had our struggles. Because he talked about how we've seen her go to AA meetings.
And they actually show the AA meetings.
Yes.
You know, it's not just she walks in and in the door and out the door.
Right. And yes. And she was like, yeah, but like I'm portraying the character. You actually let like real life into it.
Right.
And that's awesome.
Yeah. And then they brought in Max Gale.
Yeah, that made me sad. Oh. Like I was happy because
I know
he was there, but I was sad. I miss Mike and
but they made a point of mentioning that the storyline gave Mike dignity.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And showed the family struggling with all of the decisions that get made. But
Right. It like kind of extra hit home because my fiance's dad has similar health issues and is going into a home. And so whenever Sunny was like, no, I have to bring him home. Like, I have to do everything for him.
Right.
I was like, oh, I've just had this conversation about how that's how you feel, but it's selfish and it's not as helpful in some cases. And then you saw Mike like yelling at Sunny, not realizing that he was his son. And I was like, whew, this is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I love that. I mean, we talk about it all the time. I love that they address real life concerns and that they do it from, not that any health issue is mild, but like milder concerns like Bobby being diabetic, you can deal with that with medication and whatever. And for the most part, that's not like a death sentence as opposed to dealing with Stone and his AIDS and whatever. Right. And how back then that was a death sentence.
But also how they've changed that storyline to keep up with the real life medicine around.
Exactly.
Because Robin should have been dead if things had stayed the same.
Right. If she would have progressed the way that Stone did back then, she would have been next in line. But she's living a happy, healthy life. So.
Right. And not because of anything they made up.
Right.
You know,
it wasn't like we have, you know.
If nothing had changed.
Yeah.
And that's.
It wasn't like Finn was like, oh, I created this thing that only cures diseases on GH because I'm an infectious disease doctor.
Right.
It was like, no, real life, there's not a cure for this. And we're not going to pretend like there is, but medicine has advanced, thank goodness. So,
and then they had Cameron Matheson and Lynn Herring going to Kelly's, and there were fans there. How do we get the invite?
I know,
guys. We have a podcast.
Come on.
We know some of you are listening to us.
Exactly. Next event, we need to be there. We'll behave. I promise. We won't like jump 100%. Up and start asking questions.
But then Cheryl Underwood comes flying from the back, and she knows every single one of Laura's names, and you knew. She knew them. Right.
That wasn't just scripted. She was like,
she didn't just memorize it. She's like, nope,
since Laura had one last name.
Yep.
That was so cute.
And I didn't know that Molly Shannon was on General Hospital. And I looked it up. She said it was her first acting job, but according to IMDb, it wasn't. But that's okay. She was just surrogate mother number 2 in one episode in 1993.
Oh.
So the chances of us probably even going to be able to find that are probably like nil.
Yeah.
But what storyline would have been happening in that? Oh, would that have been Serena? No, that wouldn't have been Dominique. No.
No, you said 83.
93.
Oh, I thought you said 83.
1993.
Oh, then maybe. Yeah, that could have been Dominique then.
Okay. Interesting. If you remember Molly Shannon being on General Hospital, you know, the one surrogate mother number 2.
Right. I need you to tell me.
In one episode in 1993, 21 years ago.
Yeah, watch. We'll have
31.
We'll have someone write in and be like, I do remember that, blah, blah, blah. Stop doing math. You're making us old.
Okay. I'm like, that's not right math.
I like the beginning math first. We're going to stick with that.
But I thought that was really cool because like I had no idea about her being on the show and just hearing that. I wish that they had done more celebrity fans.
Yeah.
Because we know that there's so many out there that would have been nice to have, even if they were just videos like the way that Molly Shannon was.
Yeah.
You know, it's
just to hear their first GH memory. Like,
right. Even if they haven't been on the show.
Right.
You know, just.
Yeah. Because maybe they didn't bother doing that because all of them would be the same as almost all of our stories. My mom watched it, or my friend watched it, or my older sister watched it. True. And I just kind of, there's not very exciting stories other than someone had made you sit down for 5 minutes and then you were like, wait, what? I need to know what happens tomorrow.
That is true. And then they showed Rebecca Herbst wearing her wedding dress that she wore to, it is not.
Okay.
They all do the work to stay that way.
Okay. I'm just going to say, I really hope that they have a really good seamstress on set, and that is how all those dresses fit those women, because if they are still the same size,
they all do the work to stay that size.
Made me feel a little down about myself, okay?
They do the work to stay that size.
Oh my gosh.
So she wore the dress that she wore when she married Lucky the first time.
So Rebecca, not that I wasn't impressed, but she's teeny tiny. Like, you see her every day.
And she's younger.
Yes.
Lucy?
Christina Wagner.
Yes.
Putting on hers. I was like, what? Like, that was a good chunk of time. And she's beautiful as all heck, but she has aged some. And she also has had children. I know that Rebecca has also, but like, what? How do you fit in that dress?
They could have corsets. We didn't see that it was zipped
I'm just
up the
gonna
back.
hope. Can someone make me feel better and tell me that they needed to do some alteration, something like just a half-inch let out.
I don't think they had to with Lynn Herring and that red dress.
Oh my gosh.
But seriously, what happened to the hat?
Yeah, there has to be a backstory there.
I know.
I want to hear it. I thought someone was going to like toss it to her like, you forgot this. And she was going to be like, oh, I don't want to wear it.
Right.
But instead she was like, nope, we're not going to talk about that story.
Yep. So yeah, Felicia was wearing, or Christina Wagner was wearing the dress that Felicia wore to marry Frisco, and they showed the clip.
Oh.
They didn't show the clip of Liz and Lucky.
No, they did not. Oh, that's crazy.
Huh.
They didn't show the clip of Alan either, did they? And her on the red dress. Like, I know it in my head.
I don't think so. I think they may have shown the picture, or I'm just imagining that I saw it, that I did a flashback in my head. Did I make up that flashback, or was that just
I think you made that up.
Show?
I think the only evidence that we saw was Frisco and Felicia.
Okay.
We're so ridiculous. Because you could see Liz and Lucky, too. You just didn't get to see it.
Yeah. But that was really, really... Oh, because then Portia came in. Well, no, there's a picture on Instagram that shows Portia. And, I mean, that was only a year ago.
Yeah, no. No, Portia didn't come in hers. It flipped to Jordan. It went from that to Jordan, didn't it?
Yes. But on Instagram, there was a picture showing, like, Portia, Liz.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not... I
Felicia
mean, again, Portia is beautiful, but I'm not impressed that she can fit in her dress from last year. Although some years that is a feat as well, but...
Yes. And then I forget who it was that Tristan Rogers wound up talking to somebody about the fact that he remembers Luke and Laura's wedding because he was there.
He was in it. He's the best man.
Yep.
And they did show the flashback of that.
Yes. Yes. That would have been awesome to have Jeannie Francis wearing Laura's dress.
Okay. I'm just going to say that I'm assuming would have definitely taken some alteration.
We also did not see the backs of them.
They could have been open. They could have. They absolutely could have.
We can say that.
Oh, that's what I'll tell myself.
There you go.
Make myself feel better. Yeah, those definitely weren't zipped. Except for there's no way that Lynn Herring's wasn't zipped.
That is very true. That is very true. And then they showed Robert and Anna.
Yeah.
Or that was all still... Did he walk into the chapel? Who was he talking to that he said that he was at...
He was just standing in the church by himself. He was like at the very front of the pew.
Okay.
I don't know if that's
because my notes have it as Tristan and then Robert and Anna and then Christina wore the dress that she wore to marry Frisco.
So that might have been him
and then Lucy in the red dress marrying Alan. So he would have been in there with the girls.
Yeah, but he wasn't in there with the girls. Like
right.
He
but it was. Yeah, I meant like
in the church,
the segment. Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know, but then it goes to Mara West and Cynthia Watros. I wish that they had someone trip as they were talking about bloopers.
Right. Because Cynthia was like, I don't know why they have us doing bloopers. And Ava was like, yeah, I can only imagine. And then they went right to a clip of her walking into the door.
Oh, my goodness. So Cynthia Watros leaves, we'll do characters being that it was the scene. Nina leaves the table from Valentine and Anna at the Metro Court, walks up those little steps, and all you see in the background is her disappear. But then you hear like a thud, and she had walked into the door, and James Patrick Stewart even asked her, like, was that a choice? Did you choose?
Right. Everyone was like, are you okay? And did you do that on purpose? And she was like, no, the door just moved slower than I thought it did.
Yep.
So.
And then when Michael was going to set Willow down, he ripped his pants.
That was so funny.
Wally Kurth as Ned couldn't stop. He was being a little dirty with what he was talking about, because he was saying that the bartender could slip it to someone, and he's like, we're just gonna say slip it in. They were talking about right, and he couldn't stop,
and he was like, he could just slip it in, and then he started laughing, and then even as he got himself composed, it was like, nope, this whole scene is lost.
It's like, we're just gonna change it to sneaking in. They're gonna sneak in the whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then
Joss next that messed up?
Oh, she said that the place was being rubbed and not robbed.
Yes.
But Finola hitting Tristan because they walked into a room and it was someone was like, hands up. And Tristan just like messed up Robert's lines, and she turned around. She's like, you had 2 lines.
Right. Stop messing this up.
And it must have been when he had just come back, because he's like, it's good to be home.
Yes.
You know? And I thought it was cute that, like, they were obviously play hitting each other.
Right.
So I'm like, that happens all the time.
Yeah. I mean, once you've known each other that long.
Right.
My goodness.
And then they had in the courtroom, I guess when the judge said something was adjourned, Kinch just turned off the light.
Yes.
And they're giving him a hard time about it.
But they said it didn't even show.
It was dismissed. Yeah.
Yeah, that was his dismissed. And they were like, that doesn't even show. Like, what are you doing? And he was like, if it doesn't show, who cares?
Right. If you don't see the light, you still see him.
Right.
Turning out the light.
Exactly. And then they also showed him itching his head, but he was like totally blocking the camera from Liz. And she like didn't say her lines, and then he's looking at her like, why aren't you speaking? And she's like, I was waiting for you to put your hand down, like you're directly in my camera.
Yep. And then at some point he was not using proper English. He wasn't delivering his line, and they're like, that's not proper English. He's like, why are you starting now?
Right. Have you seen me in the courtroom?
Right.
And then you can hear overhead. Yes, unfortunately we have.
Yes. And then one time when it showed Bobby and Dante talking out in the hallway outside of somebody's room. Whose room were they outside of? But they were talking, and over the shoulder of Bobby, you just see Ken in the background pretend like he's punching whoever's in the bed or doing something. Like he was
like
around.
Waving his arm up and down, and they're like, "We can see you. You're in the shot."
And he's like, "What?" And then Kelly Monaco said to Sam said to Alexis, "What's your mother's name?" Or no, I'm sorry. No. She said mom, and then her phone said, "What's your mother's name?"
Yes. Like her Siri was like, "What's your mother's name?" And
right.
Then the whole scene had to stop, which is funny because we always talk about like sometimes it doesn't look like they're calling someone even whenever they pick up their phones. So I wonder what distinguishes a live phone versus a not live phone.
Right. Like why did she have that?
That her Siri was like, "What's your mother's name?"
Right. Exactly. Like exactly how did that happen?
Oh my gosh.
And then they cut to Rick Springfield coming off the elevator, talking about how he's enjoyed his time there with Dr. Noah Drake and all the different women that he was connected with. And then he talked about Jackie Zeman. I love that they showed the montage on the screen right beside the nurse's station.
Yeah. And I like that they kept it all about her because like on Friday's episode when they were going to clean out Bobby's office, they panned the whole wall of those who had come before. Yeah. And it was a good shot. It was emotional or whatever. But I really didn't want them, like he made the comment, we've lost others, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But I'm sorry, no one stands up to Bobby. She had been there.
Well, and it's fresh. And it's, and that's the thing. And instead of possibly missing somebody or not honoring them correctly.
Right.
They just
kept it as Bobby's character.
Right. And
yeah, it was
rough.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like watching the 3 episodes and then that I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then they went to Laura Wright. Pretty much everyone was walking down the hall, sharing different things about how, they were talking about the fans and about how why the show's still on.
Right.
And about how, the show they're like family to us and we get mad at them and we question their choices and how it doesn't just impact the show. Like the show actually impacts our lives.
Right. I liked that, how they like broke it up. Everybody had a different little segment of the speech talking about how, you know, they're a family and they love each other, but they wouldn't be where they are if it wasn't for all of the fans.
Yep.
So,
and we know that they know that, but just seeing them saying like,
it felt sincere. It wasn't over the top,
but also acknowledging seriously how emotionally invested we get into this thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, how can you not? Like, it's 5 days a week, 52 for the most part.
Yeah.
It's 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year.
Right.
Like, they don't go off of, they have seasons, but they don't.
Right.
So,
no, that was,
yeah,
it was nice. It, like I said, it felt sincere. It wasn't like blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah. It was like, but we need to acknowledge our fans are the true reason that we're here and that we get the awards that we do and all of that. And
that they went to the nurse's station.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say they just talked about like how the storylines, you want them to finish, but they can't finish because that's how it keeps going. And it was like, yes. And it's so frustrating sometimes.
Exactly. And then they went to the nurse's station. That's where everybody was there. And Jeannie Francis gave a toast, you know, to the past 60 years and to the fans and everything. And this is where I was really hoping, because when they like had the balloons drop and everything, and they all kind of like looked up, I thought that possibly there was going to be like a video from Tony Geary, at least being hi, you know, something. Because I think that would have been appropriate. So that way he didn't. I think that's why Jeannie was only in the end. That way it wasn't Laura's show. You know?
Oh, exactly.
Same thing with Luke, you know.
Right.
So that was kind of a bummer that nothing was.
Yeah, it would have been nice even if he had just, like those other actors and actresses had sent in the video. He could have sent a video from where he was at and said, hey, you know, I know I'm not on the show anymore, but I do want to thank everyone for the success of the long running. I mean, the Spencer family is one of the main families now. So
that's what they talked about when they talked about with Carly changing her name.
Yes.
And now that makes so much more sense because they knew Jackie was dying, and so they had Carly become a Spencer.
Yes.
Yep.
Don't start crying now. We're almost done.
But that made so much sense.
It did.
And then it
was like over.
It was too quick. It really was too quick. It was nice, but it was definitely like, it was a clip show. You know, basically.
Right.
It was a very, very quick hour.
That's why I wish they could have broken it down into
the decades
better. Just even if it was like a flip book of pictures without the actors or actresses saying too much, because I just love seeing those old pictures, especially the ones that were before our time. Like,
or have the celebrity fans be the ones hosting it, similar to how, you know, like Chandra Wilson did her thing.
Right.
But so they cheer, the balloons come down, they cut out, and there's 3 doors.
Yep.
And Laura Wright comes out of the left one and says, you know, they say when one door closes, and then Sam comes out of the right one and says another one opens. And I thought maybe they were doing another spinoff. There was some, like, at first.
Right. Especially because they both shut their doors. And I'm like, this does not make sense.
Right.
It I'm like, you open, you close. What are we talking about?
Right. And then the middle door opens. And it was Steve Burton.
Yes.
I screamed. I was like, oh my God, are you serious?
I yelled, oh my God, that was awesome. And Ryan was like, oh my God, you just had the biggest smile on your face. You are a dork. And I was like, no, I mean, again, we talked about in the recap, we had seen spoilers just because they were all over the place. But until you like see it, you don't believe it. And so
I hadn't seen any spoilers.
Know. Oh, you hadn't seen any? You didn't see the email?
I saw it after I watched the special.
Oh, okay. I didn't watch the special till yesterday.
Right. So I watched the special on Friday before they sent out the email.
Oh, well, good.
They had the only thing I had seen was earlier in the week that Steve Burton was leaving Days.
Yes.
But I don't follow Days. I don't know anything about Days. And I know that he did the Days, whatever that spinoff thing was that they did. Like so I was like, oh, maybe that ended. Or like maybe they're... I don't know. I don't know how they do their thing.
Just because he leaves one soap doesn't mean he's coming back to the other necessarily.
Exactly. So I saw that, but it just was kind of like all right.
Yeah.
And
I wish I would have got to see you see it then, because I was surprised that they announced, like, that they were. Yeah. That was a really cool way to announce it. I really liked that, but I wasn't surprised at the knowledge because I had already seen.
So I definitely thought there was maybe something spin-off-y ish when Carly came out, but then as soon as Kelly did, and as soon as they looked at each other, I'm like, oh, And then they opened the door and it was like steaming and out comes Steve Burton and what did he say? He's like, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Or something. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So what are they going to do?
Yay.
But now he's going to come back to Brett being dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want him and Sam to get back together. Please don't do that.
I would like them to put him back together with Carly.
No.
Yep.
Nope. She needs a friend.
No. I don't like her and Drew together.
Or is he going to come back as Jason Quartermain?
Oh my gosh, that would be crazy.
Please do that.
That would be crazy.
Please do that. But that would be interesting.
It would be so sad because he wouldn't be friends with Carly like you wanted.
But still, they would become friends. There would be something.
Promise? Because that would be really sad if they weren't at least
they
friends.
will become friends. Yes.
Okay.
Carly and Jason can still be friends, but
you
oh
guys
my
heard
gosh.
This to me.
Or he just has like all of his memories. So he knows. But
that would put him against Michael though.
No. If he has all of his memories, so he knows both of his lives.
Yeah, but he'd want back into ELQ.
Maybe not.
I mean,
maybe he would just help Carly at Kelly's.
He's not going to go back to helping his coffee importer boss. So I don't know. I really don't know what they're going to do with him. But if he has to have a love interest from someone that we already have, I would rather him end up back with Carly than
it's
going back to Sam.
Sam was great the first time.
Mm-hmm. But if they wake up Lulu from the coma, they're going to put Dante back together with Lulu.
Well, yes.
And then Sam's going to end up back
Sam can just stay single for a little while, or we can bring somebody new in.
She can have Drew back. And then they don't have to co-parent so hard.
Done. We just wrote it for you guys. You're welcome.
I would like that. I would take that.
That would be... But
I know.
That's the thing, though. Like,
they're not going to do all that because then, like, you're just putting everybody back where they belonged, and then there's nowhere else to go from here. But I would like that.
Something has to be different about his character.
Yeah.
Because if not, it's just the same thing that we did with Patient 6 a few years ago.
Well, I mean, this time he'd have the same face.
But exactly, though. Well, no, because as Patient 6, he was the same face.
But he was covered.
Right.
You didn't get to see his face. We didn't know who
Not
he
at the
was.
beginning.
Yeah.
Right. But the first time Jason came back, it was actually Drew and like all that stuff. They can't do...
No.
Just have it be something as, I hate to say simple, because then we get to see Jason Quartermain having to deal with, what do you mean Lila's gone? What do you mean? And then...
Okay.
What do you mean how the world has changed in the past 30 years? What the heck are you talking about? I have these kids.
Yeah.
Where's Brenda? And then we can bring Brenda back!
Okay.
Because Brenda was friends with both of them! Yep.
All right.
There you go.
I like that.
And then we will do our recap on Brenda.
Perfect.
Look at that.
It's all full circle.
Because she can help him. Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
But I do.
I'm just excited for whatever they do with him.
Absolutely.
But I would prefer that he does not end up back with Sam.
Yes. Unless they make it really, 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 really good. But I don't see how that would happen.
No, I can't even imagine a good enough storyline to put them back together.
No.
It just, I don't know. The flame's not there anymore.
No.
Unless they put him with Liz this time.
No. Oh, yeah. But we like Finn now with Liz.
Yeah, but her and Jason never got to have their full go-around.
Oh, and if he's Jason Quartermain, could he go back and get his medical degree and then he's a doctor?
I mean,
I have a feeling.
GH, the possibilities are endless.
Are his credits still good? Can he still finish that degree? I don't think so.
Probably have to restart.
Probably. But then on Instagram, we did reshare GH's official Instagram page, account, whatever they're called.
Mm-hmm.
Posted, when did you start watching General Hospital? And actually, some of the actors, so like Laura Wright said, I started watching when I was little, blah, 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 blah. And I said, Amanda started watching with her mom. Shannon started watching at a friend's house after school. And we got a lot of comments. One was, the first storyline I watched was when Felicia was dating Colton Shore.
Oh, yeah.
Then there was, I was 6 or 7. It was the beginning of Luke and Laura. That part went over my head. Oh,
yeah, that's good.
Yeah. My sister, who is 9 years older than me, would let me watch it with her after we got home from school. As long as I didn't tell our mom, she let me watch it. And I've been hooked ever since. That is great.
That's adorable.
I was in the hospital in 1969, 16 years old. They didn't have anything else on TV at that time. They didn't have anything else on TV at that time but soaps and game shows. So I started watching General Hospital. And when I went to school, I would tape them on VHS. Then I started to watch GH in 1972, and I still watch it every day. Another says, always watch with my mom. Probably started about 40 years ago.
Oh.
Started when I was 9 or 10, watching with my mom.
See, I told you everybody's stories.
Yep.
The same.
Been watching so long. Started with my grandma, and I think I was around 10. I'm 65.
Wow.
Couldn't watch it all the time and work through those years, but I knew what was going on. Yeah, before like VHS and all that. In 1978, when I started college at Indiana University, I would go to a friend's room when I was done with classes. She always had it on. It only took 2 weeks for me to get hooked, and I've been watching ever since.
Aww.
Then my mom started from the beginning, and we watched it together. I've missed huge chunks over the years, but I haven't missed an episode since the 50th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
So many familiar faces back then. And then other people, just the late 70s, early 80s, 1977. Man, we know the exact year. Good for you.
Wow.
I'm like, we just say like early 90s.
Right.
Like, you're earlier 90s than I am. I'm like mid-early.
I think mine was probably...
Well, we've kind of done the math. I said I pretty much started over the summer-ish, like 93, 94, but it was only during the summer, and it was like, here and there. I would say maybe 94, 95, because 96 is when I went to high school.
I would say 90, 91. Probably...
Because 96 is when I really got invested and I got home in time to watch it.
Oh, wait. I guess I would say... Okay, so I saw it... I saw Felicia and Colton and Felicia and Frisco's wedding and all that stuff like in real time when my mom watched it. But I would say myself getting addicted to it was probably 94 that I began watching it like faithfully every single day.
That makes sense because you're just that much older than me that you would have been at the same... Because I think that's the thing too. Like I would catch the end of it at my friend's parents' house or my friend's house and watched, like I knew kind of enough of the storylines, but not everything.
Right.
And over the summer, I was still out doing things.
Yeah. We had just moved to a town that I didn't have any friends in, and the school got out earlier. So I got home in time for the very beginning of it. And so it was like, I was already hooked from watching it with my mom and stuff. Right. And so I was definitely like, then I'd come home and grab a pillow and lay in front of the TV. And my mom would watch it with me sometimes, but not always, because that was the year that my sister had my niece Julie.
Aww.
So
yeah,
I've never like thought that far into it until you say that. I'm like, wait, I can't pinpoint the year I was like became addicted.
And then I was 10. I'm 64 now. 12. My mom watched it, and I was little watching Audrey Lucille and Dr. Steve Hardy. I can remember when Heather came on the show and Jeff Weber, Scotty when he was on Luke and Laura, and now I keep watching. I love GH, and I remember when Robin was kidnapped. Oh, I could go on. And then I have watched it since the first episode, and it is by far my favorite show. So I'm showing my age. I just wish certain people would come back on screen and put others back together as a couple. Can't stand the storyline of Nina and Sonny.
Oh, we need to talk to her.
And that was the only one that I responded to, and I said that's amazing. We love hearing from people who
do you want to be
have been like day one?
Because I want to hear all the history I don't know, and we can talk about how much we hate Nina together.
Yes. So, but that's why we love the fan spotlights. I know we need to do more of them. We have a backlog. I'm so sorry, guys. Stuff happens.
To get everyone's schedule together.
It is. But we will get them, because then also we want to record them close to when we're going to be airing them, because then if something doesn't...
No one wants to wait 6 months to hear themselves.
No, especially when we're talking about storylines.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a recap of the 60th anniversary special, and also just some, I guess, backstory of some people and their start. So
it was so good, but like I said, I could use like a million more. That hour went way too fast.
Absolutely. So join us on Monday as we recap this week's episodes that are going to continue to break our heart about Bobby, we're sure. And if you have any information about Bobby Spencer, please email us, because I'm sure that there are going to be gaps in our research.
Yes.
And we're going to do the best that we can. As we mentioned, all of last year, so many YouTube channels were taken down.
Yep.
So we're really kind of going to be in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah.
And we want to do as best we can.
Absolutely. All right. So with that, have a good weekend.
And we'll meet you at the pier. Bye. Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to pier54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review. And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Pier 54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at peer54podcast@gmail.com.